Well, at the time of me recording right now, moments ago, the nominees for this year's Game Awards have been announced. And in case you didn't know, this is a fighting game channel, so you know exactly where my focus is going to be. Before I get to that, in my previous upload talking about one little concern that I had about Marvel Tokon, in the midst of talking about my actual problem, which go check out the video if you haven't already, I also kind of made an offhanded little comment about the possibility of Marvel Tokon being in the most anticipated category. Not saying it was gonna win, just be nominated. Nope, it didn't. And like honestly, looking at that big ginormous GTA 6 right there, even if it was nominated, I don't think it would have won. Personally, for me, of all these, I'm anticipating the Wolverine game. There you go. Alright, let's get to best fighting game because, wow. Here you see the nominees on the board and I was quite... It's one freaking nomination that kind of got me. Now I'm gonna go find my comment on the homie Vault's channel. Always shoutouts to Vault, go check him out. He talks about a variety of different video games. You've seen him on a couple of my videos and podcasts, you've heard his voice on here before, and all around the guy is just cool. As a matter of fact, speaking of Vault and the Game Awards, I'm more than likely gonna be in his stream, not in it, but like be watching his watch along because far as I'm concerned, with people I know personally, when it comes to like the Game Awards and everything, his commentary and his watch-alongs are the most fun. In addition to just him roasting the stuff that he doesn't like or whatnot, even if I like it, I still find it funny. The community there is always really, really cool. But yeah, getting back to a comment that I left on one of his streams, which if I can dig up and find that comment, I'm gonna post it right here. This was after he had finished his playthrough of South of Midnight, which, really beautiful game by the way. I really wish I had got the chance to play it myself and experience it for myself, but I never got around to it. But hey, experiencing it alongside one of my legit good friends from YouTube was just as good. But after that, I don't know if I did it or someone else had brought it up, but the topic of the Game Awards did come up, and at the very end of the stream, we were basically speculating what was going to be nominated for what category. And this was my prediction if I can find it. Alright, so I decided to just go ahead and hunt down that freaking comment instead of just constantly alluding to the fact that it may or may not still be out there. I was just worried about the fact that I know Vault actually does something a bit different when it comes to his VODs, so I figured there might have not been any record of the comment that I can find, but I found it, and I'll bring it up right here. As you can see, my prediction for the noms of this year was City of the Wolves, 2XKO, Hunter x Hunter, Capcom Fight Collection 2, and Virtua Fighter 5 Revo. I almost called it, except for one, and you obviously see it. And this kind of shocked me. Even though, quite frankly, I know when it comes to Hunter x Hunter and the game that actually got nominated, not really that many high opinions of either one of these. Hunter x Hunter wasn't really all that well liked by most people, nor did I hear a lot of good about the Mortal Kombat Legacy Collection. With the stuff that I've heard about with the Mortal Kombat Legacy Collection, say what you want about Hunter x Hunter, but I don't think it was nearly that bad. Again, that slightly shocked me. But yeah, you look at the rest of the noms, I basically called them, and yeah, this was yet another year, at least in terms of like the nominations here, where not really a strong year for fighting games. But I mean, it makes sense. We had like a strong category about like 2 years ago, the one where Street Fighter 6 eventually won. Like Tekken 8, when it won last year, it was a fairly decent batch of nominees, but this year, and that's not really saying in terms of like the quality of the games, at least not 100%. It's just, once again, like let's just go down the list. Because we have 2XKO, which it is out, but like early access, and then on top of that, it's not on console yet, it's just PC. I mean, it's going to come to console eventually, it is, but you know, still. But I mean, 2XKO has been still getting a lot of buzz once they got things rolling. So, I mean, I knew it was gonna be nominated because, I mean, the pool was kinda dry. I mean, like I said, I think it does deserve to be nominated, but at the same time, it's just kinda weird, the situation that it's in or whatnot. Then we have Capcom Fighting Collection 2. These types of nominations always kinda get me because, I mean, technically, yeah, I get it. It did get released within the time frame that the Game Awards has set for when, like, a game can be nominated. It's within the time frame. It's just always something about re-releases or what is in essence a ROM compilation getting nominated. And I mean, I know that they've been doing this for years. Like last year, the MVC collection got nominated. Updated ports of fighting games have been nominated throughout the years. Like you had Street Fighter V, and then all of its updates had got pretty much nominated. We've seen this before. I know it's a thing, but still to me, it's rather funny. And I actually like Capcom Fighting Collection too. I mean, in a ways, I can see like why they might be nominated. Like, the MVC collection pretty much marked the return of, the whole thing with free MVC 2. And then we got CVS 2 and CVS 1 back with the Capcom Fighting Collection. Bringing back those games like it's a big deal, but, still. Virtua Fighter, I just feel really sorry for. I really just feel sorry for this franchise when it comes to the Game Awards. Like the last couple of times I've seen anything Virtua Fighter related get nominated, like they're literally just one of like the biggest jobbers in this category when it comes to the Game Awards. One of the biggest jobbers ever. Cause here's the thing, one time I actually was curious about something, I forgot when, and I still have the file. I actually went through the Game Awards history when it comes to the best fighting game winners. And then I had forgotten that, before it was this, it was the Spike Video Game Awards. And like Virtua Fighter even like got some nominations there. Like Virtua Fighter 4 Evolution, when it came to the best fighting game category in freaking 2003, lost to a wrestling game. Right here. It's right there. And I mean, if you look at like the freaking nominees, first of all, goodness gracious, these freaking categories used to be crowded. Wow. But on top of that, it's like, oh my God, but it's just crazy. Virtua Fighter 4 Evolution lost to a freaking wrestling game. And I mean, even freaking CVS 2 is sitting right there. Like, how exactly? But yeah, Virtua Fighter 5 is just back to job again. That's all it is. And again, this is not me saying like the game is bad or anything. I appreciate Virtua Fighter, but Game Awards just doesn't see that mess as a contender, like a legitimate contender. It's good to get the noms and everything, but jeez, man. And once again, like I understand that Hunter x Hunter was not really hot when it came out. Like I said, I played that demo and for the most part, I enjoyed it. Like I didn't fall in love with it. And if you recall that little, I guess, review of the demo, I said that I would consider possibly buying this, but like on sale. With that being said, I don't think, correct me if I'm wrong, I don't recall anybody asking for refunds for Hunter x Hunter. Mortal Kombat Legacy Collection, I came across that news and I was like, yo. I mean, the games that were in it are some classics that people have been, wanting to get back into if you didn't already have them or if you didn't, keep your consoles, all that good stuff. Like the reason that you would buy collections, you know what it is. I figured this was gonna be hype, but then I'll never forget stumbling across a random post on a news site where they were talking about people demanding refunds for this. My God, man. And it still got, ooh, man. See, this is what I was talking about in the video where I was talking about, was the FGC being hypocritical when it came to King of Fighters when Marvel Tokon came out. There was a portion of that rant where I had mentioned that it seems like the power of, name recognition is still very much there. That's the only reason I could imagine why something that has been very controversial and not for the usual controversial reasons that Mortal Kombat tends to like It's not the usual Mortal Kombat controversy, but just the fact that this mess is garbage. That's why I'm surprised Legacy Collection even sniffed this freaking category. And so, getting back to the one thing I haven't talked about, Fatal Fury City of the Wolves. If you've been paying attention, I have said several different times in several different ways, when it comes to fighting games that are currently in the rotation on the market, however you want to put it, I'm talking about fighting games that are still getting content, that are still basically on the competitive circuit, stuff that's still going that came out within like the past couple years or so. Fatal Fury City of the Wolves is still my favorite. I still like Street Fighter 6. I've actually gotten back into Strive. A couple indie fighters out there looking really good. But really still, I've enjoyed Fatal Fury City of the Wolves more than any of them. As I mentioned in another video, I know that there are those people that care more about King of Fighters than Fatal Fury. More so specifically KOF 15 than Fatal Fury City of the Wolves. I'm not one of those people. For me personally, SNK went through the motions with King of Fighters 15. They really did. Again, you can get mad at me for mentioning this, but sorry not sorry, I said this in the previous video as well. When you hold these companies accountable, if they are keen to this thing, if they really do care about the community and they really care about what they're putting out, you hold them accountable and they'll make better choices. It was all this talk about KOF and other SNK fighting games lacking in single player content that led to them actually doing it in Fatal Fury City of the Wolves. Now, I personally was not as crazy about episodes of Southtown like most people are, but I do appreciate its inclusion. And again, I'm gonna bring it up, like I'm glad it eventually got fixed, but with King of Fighters 15, you do not leave your matchmaking broken for that long and expect to be a draw. There are those people that are going to be patient with the game because they just love KOF, but like if y'all want more people, and I'm talking to SNK in this case, you want more people to play KOF, you don't do that. Like for me, you sent me a message that you really didn't care about that. Yes, they addressed it, which was really good, but like again, it was nearly a whole year till it got fixed. SNK learned their lesson when it came to City of the Wolves because there were matchmaking issues with that in the betas. The second beta, they actually hit it on the head, and then boom. And that is not to say that SNK did not do some things with City of the Wolves that didn't piss me off, because if that's what you actually think, then you're not hearing me out and I'm not gonna hear you out. Because SNK did some things, and you probably know what I'm talking about, that basically amounted to a shot in the foot when it came to City of the Wolves. Which, as I say that, is why, even though I'm still gonna vote for Fatal Fury City of the Wolves, once again, I think 2XKO's got this. And I've had my issues with 2XKO. Going back to what I mentioned earlier about the fact that it's not even on console yet, when I was invited to try it on console, I got soft locked out of it, and I didn't really get a chance to try it until, of course, early access happened, because then I got codes from last time. The key thing was to make sure on console that you were linking or trying to log into the game with the same Riot account that you have. Like, it couldn't have been different Riot accounts. I know I didn't do that because I spent a whole lot of time sending emails to Riot. Lots of emails. But as of course is the case with a couple of things, I was obviously getting emails from bots. I mean, I could be wrong about that, but like the advice that I was being given as to how to actually fix the issue I was having very much sounded and seemed very bottish. And I'm pretty sure most of you know how that is. I know a lot of SNK fans are not gonna like the fact that I am saying that another SNK fighting game is going to lose to another rather, I guess, sort of suspect, iffy fighting game at the Game Awards, but I'm gonna repeat something that I've said before, and I hope people actually get this. You have to consider what audience is being considered here. It is the Game Awards. It is the Game Awards. In other words, at least for me, correct me if I'm wrong, the audience that engages with this and the audience that this is meant to be tailored to leans heavily casual. That's another point against City of the Wolves, in my opinion, when it comes to this. Because 2XKO is much more of a casual, friendly game than City of the Wolves. Much more. I'm gonna say it again, and I'm gonna put a twist on this. It is the Game Awards. Not the newly established Evo Awards, the Game Awards. So, again, at this point in time, if you're surprised by SNK losing, in this case again, to some other freaking game that you might find suspect or whatever, or a game that you might not think is as good as City of the Wolves, which once again, I tend to agree with that. I like City of the Wolves more so than 2XKO. Am I hoping for a City of the Wolves upset? Yeah, even though I really don't put that much stock in these awards like a lot of other people do. Like, I remember somebody, I forgot who, had mentioned back when, of course, Multiverses beat KOF 15. Yeah, I brought it up again. This person had said that they were really upset about that outcome because these awards can serve as some really good publicity if you win. And they really wanted KOF 15 to get a little bit of extra, seeing that, of course, this person felt like not enough people in the world have been properly exposed to KOF. At the same time, though, look what happened after that. Between Multiverses and KOF 15, yeah, Multiverses won the award, but what happened to Multiverses after that? Multiverses pretty much went on a downward spiral. KOF 15 got some more content with Vice and Mature, and people are still very much dedicated to it. It's not like the most extravagant number of players, but it's still going strong. Speaking of going strong, on top of that, Multiverses is offline now. It's offline. Which, I mean, it's cool, you know, having an offline game, but like, as we've seen with fighting games, it's like, in most cases, and you could even apply it to a couple other games, it's cool to have, you know, local offline stuff, having local offline access, but wouldn't you rather have that plus also online? Because if you don't really have the online going, exactly how long are you going to stay afloat? So how much really did that award do for Multiverses? Matter of fact, y'all recall that Multiverses got a second nom last year and it lost to Tekken 8. Vault, who I've mentioned here a couple times, was really a big fan of Multiverses. That year, last year, when they got nominated, you can watch it because he does like his votes for the year in videos every single time the Game Awards comes up. He did not vote for that game last year. He voted for Tekken 8. Like I said, I get the whole matter of wanting more publicity for SNK fighting games, because best believe they could use some good publicity, especially now. Especially now, but at the same time, going back to Multiverses versus KOF 15, I would much rather be in SNK's shoes than freaking Multiverses. Like winning an award and just crashing afterwards? That's sad. But yeah, like mostly again, like the homie Vault, more so when I watch the Game Awards, I'm just looking for the reveals. Because of course, anything of interest, I'm gonna make content, talk about it. And there are even times that I've found some stuff that I'll be interested in. Non-fighting games and, you know, other types of stuff. It was the Game Awards in 2021 where I first learned about Rumbleverse. And those of you watching that know me personally or you've been following me long enough, y'all know how much I love that game. I literally missed that game nearly on the same level as missing a best friend or a loved one that's no longer here with us. I can't think of another video game that dropped within like the past 5 years that I freaking loved as much as that one. I wouldn't even say I like Fatal Fury City of the Wolves all that much then, but it's still like my top fighting game right now. So yeah, like I'm interested in like the reveals. You know, sometimes I come out the Game Awards liking some stuff and sometimes I don't. Last year, I do not think there was much of anything that got me like hyper excited really. There's some good stuff, but it was just kind of like, I look forward to the ceremony for the reveals, and like I said, I watch Vault's watch-alongs every time he does them because I just love how the man roasts stuff that he doesn't like. Like if you like anime games, he's probably gonna make fun of. He's gonna get in the comments like, why you telling all my business? But yeah, I think that'll do it. I didn't expect to ramble on this long about it, but those are my thoughts about the best fighting game category for the 2025 Game Awards. Again, not really like the strongest batch of nominees. My vote personally goes to Fatal Fury City of the Wolves, but I think it's going to be 2XKO that is going to win. There you have it. What do you think? Who do you think's going to win this one? Do you really care about it? Any reveals that you're looking forward to? Speaking of, Again, Sony, Arxis, Marvel Tokon, I better see y'all there. I better see some new stuff. Like, matter of fact, no. Let me specify. I had better see some new characters revealed for Marvel Tokon at the Game Awards. I have better. Especially if some other fighting games are revealing some other stuff, because I have another video coming up, which is actually kind of dated, where thanks to a little bit of news that came out, I think last week, I actually think there might be a chance that we will see a hint of Fatal Fury City of the Wolves Season 2 at the Game Awards. I think there might be a chance. But again, if I see some other fighting game reveals and Marvel Tokon doesn't have any, come on now. Alright, let me wrap this up. Again, let me know your thoughts about the nominees. Do you really care about it? Who do you think is gonna win? Who are you gonna vote for? Any thoughts about anything that I said? Of course, let me know in the comments below. And until next time, I am the Chris Lotus, signing off. You all take care of yourselves, be safe out there, be cool to each other, and stay cool by staying hydrated. See ya.